16/2020 meeting of the Southeast Overtown Park West CRA. Presently, at the moment, we have quorum. We have Commissioner Ken Russell, Commissioner Manolo Reyes, and myself, the chairman, present. Are there any members of the public that would like to make a comment on the RE agenda for the Southeast Overtown Park West CRA? Are there any pre-recorded comments for the Southeast Overtown Park West CRA? For the CRA.
Good morning, Commissioner. Congratulations.
Mark Bailey, Miami River Marine Group, 3033 North River Drive, Miami, Florida, 33142. Speaking on file ID number 7291 and ID number 8040.
Mr.
The
Chairman,
Miami
this is the
River
wrong
Marine
meeting.
Group urges the Commission to remove all references of the Miami River
Can you stop it?
from the proposed amendments to the Miami Comprehensive Plan and Miami's zoning code.
Yeah, I don't think there are any pre-recorded comments for the Southeast Overtown Park West CRA. Mr. Shiver, have you heard of any public comments?
None whatsoever, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. What we're doing right now, Senator, we're just going to handle the CRA agenda because I know we don't have any public comments on it, and then we'll move into the rest of the agenda, well, for the other meetings. So the chair would like to entertain a motion to approve the Southeast Overtown Park West agenda.
Move it.
So moved.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any further comment or discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
You're recognized, sir.
Thank you. On the Block 55, I had some questions and just wanted some clarification.
Yes.
This has over 500 units, about 50% of which are under 50% AMI and about 50% over 50% AMI. I think it's an amazing project. I just wanted to make sure that the CRA and the City of Miami are aware of the situation with the residents from the Harry Kane Tower. Mr. Chairman, are you familiar with the situation?
Explain it further.
So there's a county-owned senior center, predominantly Hispanic and African-American residents, all of whom have been displaced over the last few months. And during the pandemic, the place was in such bad condition, it was basically condemned. And in order to ease their transition, Michael Liu from the county was representing to those residents that they will have first right of refusal on this project when it does become available. And I don't know if that's an agreement between the county and the developer, or if the CRA is involved, and I just wanted to get some clarification on that matter.
Neil, have you had discussion with them regarding this?
I have, yes.
Okay. And what have you heard?
And Commissioner, Mr. Chairman, and Commissioner Russell, exactly right. We have made provisions that the initial contract called for 50% of the units to be affordable to elderly residents making $40,000 AMI below. That still is in place. The anticipation is that those units will give first priority to the hurricane residents. In addition to, Mr. Chairman, you appreciate this, give also some eligibility and preference to residents also live in Overtown. So yes, we've made provisions for that. That is our understanding. And that is part of the development agreement today.
And there are a great deal of I think the Miami-Dade County is providing vouchers, right? So this is going to be almost like a fully funded voucher program. So I couldn't anticipate that there would be any issues with that. And I know the developer has had many discussions with Miami-Dade County regarding those vouchers, and that's how you're able to get the below the area median income.
So that's between the I apologize, Mr. Chairman, so that's between the county and the developer. And I guess my question is that memorialized in writing in any formal capacity? There's I believe it's 140 units that were displaced. I don't know exactly how many residents from the senior center.
May I respond, Mr. Commissioner?
Please.
Board member?
Yes.
Yes, we have 578 units proposed for this development, housing units, of which 50% of that number, half of those numbers will be dedicated to the elderly, which exceeds the amount of units for the hurricane residents that will be removed. No, that language specifically is not in this development agreement, but it's my understanding that there is an agreement with the developers in this case and Miami-Dade County, and I've sat down with the director of Miami-Dade County Housing, and they've also assured me of that. So it is in their development agreement with the developer, but it's not a part of the CRA's agreement, but it was a part of the CRA's intent in entering to this agreement.
Thank you very much.
Any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against? Motion carries. The meeting of the Southeast Overtown Park West Community Redevelopment Agency has come to an end.
Mr. Chairman, one quick matter, if you might, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, the Overtown Community and the CRA Board would like to acknowledge that this is your last CRA chairmanship meeting. And let me just show you this plaque. Let me just read it real fast. I'll do it very fast. Keon Hardeman, Southeast Overtown Park West CRA Chairman, in recognition of your visionary and steadfast chairmanship of the Southeast Overtown Park West CRA Community Redevelopment Agency. The Southeast Overtown Park West CRA hereby acknowledges your leadership for the most productive 7 years of this agency's existence. Your resilience and guidance has ensured a bright future for Overtown and the towners for life, and forever grateful for your accomplishments in affordable housing and the creation of good paying jobs. We couldn't let you leave without that recognition, and that extends to the entire board, but more specifically you, Mr. Chairman, because this is your last meeting. Thank you.
I appreciate it very much, and certainly I'm thankful for each one of the commissioners that have served on this board. There was a time in which Miami-Dade County, the city of Miami, was not very happy with this board, and I'm sure we heard it throughout the state of Florida. But today is a brand new day, and so I'm excited about where this agency is going. And we were able to accomplish many things, but I think the future is so much brighter than where we are today. So I look forward to.
Can we discuss the chairmanship of that board?
So
Well done.
thank you,
Well
thank,
done,
you, thank you
Chairman.
very much, gentlemen. Thank you. All right, so
you.
this meeting's come to an end.
Okay.
Okay, what we're going to do next is open up the special city commission meeting at the 9:59.
Chair?
9:59.
Chair, I just need just a minute.
No, take care. Yeah, it's fine.
Chair, we're good to go.
Today's special meeting has been called for the purpose of discussing and taking any and all actions related to allowing lodges. I'm sorry, let me start that over. Today's special meeting has been called for the purpose of discussing and taking any and all actions related to allowing lodging uses on lands within the city of Miami, designated industrial and/or within the district zone, and any associated regulations, including but not limited to an ordinance amending ordinance number 10544 as amended, the Miami Comprehensive Neighborhood Plan. Pursuant to expedited state review procedures established in Section 163.31A4 Florida statutes by adding two policies to the future land use element and amending the interpretation of the 2020 future land use map for industrial land use to allow lodging uses on lands within the city designated as industrial. And any ordinance amending ordinance number 13114, the zoning ordinance of the city of Miami, Florida, as amended, specifically by amending Article 1, Section 1.1, titled Definitions of Building Function. Uses to modify the definition of industrial by amending Article 3, Section 3.11, titled Waterfront Standards, to add lodging as a use considered for design standards. By amending Article 4, Table 3, titled Building Function Uses, to modify regulations for density and uses for the district zone regarding lodging uses. By amending Article 4, Table 4, titled Density, Intensity, and Parking, to provide regulations for density, intensity, and parking to address lodging uses within the D2 industrial and D3 waterfront industrial transit zones within the district zone, and by amending Article 6, Section 6.1, titled Intent and Exclusions, to provide supplementary regulations for the D2 industrial and D3 waterfront industrial transit zones in Table 13. The members of the City Commission appearing for this special City Commission meeting are Alex Diaz de la Portilla, Joe Carollo, Manolo Reyes, Kenny Russell, the Vice Chair, and me, Keon Hardeman, the Chair. Also appearing we have Art Noriega, our City Manager, appearing remotely, City Attorney Victoria Mendez, and City Clerk Todd Hannon. The special meeting will be open with a prayer by the Vice Chairman, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by our Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Everyone stand, please.
Dear Lord, we're gathered here today to take up the business of the city. Please give us guidance in the decisions that we make and our openness to the opinions of the public. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam City Attorney, please state the procedures to be followed during this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code must register with the City Clerk, comply with related city requirements for lobbyists before appearing before the City Commission. A person may not lobby a city official, board member, or staff member until registering. A copy of the code section about lobbyists is available in the City Clerk's office and online at municode.com. Any person making a presentation, formal request, or petition to the City Commission concerning real property must make the disclosures required by the City Code in writing. A copy of the City Code section is available at the office of the City Clerk and online at municode.com. Pursuant to Section 2-33, subsection F and subsection G of the City Code, the agenda and the material for each item on the agenda is available during business hours at the City Clerk's office and online 24 hours a day at miamigov.com. Any person may be heard by the City Commission through the chair and upon registering pursuant to the published notice for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the City Commission unless modified by the chair. Members of the public wishing to address the body may do so by visiting miamigov.com/virtual meeting to upload their 2-minute video comments to be played during the City Commission meeting or to submit their written comments via the online comment form. The comments submitted through the comment form have been distributed to the elected officials and city administration throughout the day so that the elected official can consider the comments prior to taking any action. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept comments and distribute to the elected officials up until the time the chairperson closes public comment period. Members of the public may also call 305-250-5353 to provide comments via the dedicated City of Miami public comment voicemail, where individuals will be able to leave a 2-minute message that will be played during the virtual commission meeting. Members of the public may also pre-register to provide live public comment by phone during the meeting. You may pre-register by calling 305-250-5350 or online at miamigov.com/government/live-public-comment. All comments submitted will be included as part of the public record for this virtual meeting and will be considered by the City Commission prior to any action taken. Public comment may also be provided live at City Hall at 3500 Pan American Drive, Miami, Florida, subject to any and all COVID-19 rules, regulations, and procedures. Speakers who appear in person will be subject to screening for symptoms of COVID-19. Any person exhibiting any symptoms of COVID-19 will not be permitted to enter City Hall. All interested parties are required to abide by all state, county, and local emergency orders and are urged to remain at home and practice social distancing. If the proposition is being continued to be scheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the City Commission takes action on such proposition. When addressing the City Commission, the member of the public must first state his or her name, his or her address, and whatever we've spoken about. Any person with disability requiring assistance, auxiliary aids, and services for this meeting may notify the City Clerk. Section 286.014, subsection 4, subsection C of Florida statutes authorizes the city to prescribe procedures or forms for an individual to use in order to inform the board or commission of a desire to be heard, to indicate his or her support, opposition, or neutrality on a proposition. The city, through its multiple comment options, has provided 5 different methods to indicate, among other things, the public's support, opposition, or neutrality on the items and topics to be discussed at the City Commission meeting. The public has been given the opportunity to provide public comment during the special meeting and within reasonable proximity in time before the meeting. The city has also created a simple set of instructions explaining how the public may submit their comments with either option. Those instructions are provided in the notice to the public via the city's social media channels and published online at miamigov.com/virtual-meeting. Please note, commissioners have generally been briefed by city staff and the city attorney on items on the agenda today. The PZ item shall proceed according to section 7.1.4 of the Miami 21 zoning ordinance, as temporarily modified pursuant to emergency ordinance numbers 13902, 13903, and 13914. Pursuant to emergency ordinance 13903 and 13914, parties for any PZ items, including any applicant, appellant, appellee, city staff, and any person recognized by the decision-making body as a qualified intervener, as well as the applicant's representatives and the experts testifying on behalf of the applicant, appellant, or appellee, may either be physically present at City Hall to be sworn in by oath or affirmation by the city clerk, or may appear virtually and make arrangements to be sworn in by oath or affirmation in person at their location by an individual qualified to perform such duty. Pursuant to emergency ordinance number 13903, members of the general public who are not parties to an action pending before the City Commission are not required to be sworn in by oath or affirmation. The members of the City Commission shall disclose any ex parte communications to remove the presumption of prejudice pursuant to Florida Statute Section 286.015 and Section 7.1.4.5 of the Miami 21 Zoning Code. Staff will briefly present each item you heard. For applications requiring City Commission approval, the applicant will then present his application or request to the City Commission. If the applicant agrees with the staff's recommendation, the City Commission may proceed to its deliberation decision. The applicant may also waive the right to an evidentiary hearing on the record. The order of presentation shall be as set forth in the Miami 21 zoning ordinance and the City Code, providing that the appellant shall present first. For appeals, the appellant will present its appeals to the City Commission, followed by the appellee. Staff will be allowed to make any recommendation they may have. The City of Miami requires that anyone requesting action by the City Commission must disclose before the hearing anything provided to anyone for agreement to support or withhold objection to the requested action pursuant to Section 2-8 of the City Code. Any documents offered to the City Commissioners that have not been provided 7 days before the meeting as part of the agenda materials will be entered into the record at the City Commission's discretion. If any Commissioner thinks that the documents supplied to the Commission less than 7 days before merit a continuance, the item may be continued by the City Commission. Anyone wishing to appeal any decision made by the City Commission for any matter considered at this meeting may need a verbatim record of the item. A video of this meeting may be requested at the Office of Communications or viewed online at miamigov.com. Please silence all cell phones and other noise-making devices. This special meeting can be viewed live on Miami TV at miamigov.com/TV, through the city's Facebook page, on the city's Periscope channel, on the city's YouTube channel, and on Comcast Channel 77. The broadcast will also have closed captioning. Commissioners, please confirm you are comfortable with the notice provisions as set forth in these uniform procedures that we have established for this special meeting.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, you're recognized, sir.
Chair, just so you're aware, we do have roughly 3 minutes of pre-recorded public comment for the 9:59 a.m. Special City Commission meeting.
I'm opening up the floor right now for the pre-recorded comments of the 9:59 Special City Commission meeting. You can play that now.
Mark Bailey, Miami River Marine Group, 3033 North River Drive, Miami, Florida, 33142. Speaking on file ID number 7291 and ID number 8040. The Miami River Marine Group urges the Commission to remove all references of the Miami River from the proposed amendments to the Miami Comprehensive Plan and Miami's Zoning Code. While these proposed amendments may seem to be limited and focused to the lower river, the long-range implications could have widespread and long-lasting impact on Miami's working river. more careful study is needed. The city, alongside unknown hotel development interests, seem to be pushing a hotel development agenda for now. But now, more than ever, the City Commission should continue your support for a more economically diverse city. The marine industry on the Miami River is currently experiencing growth with the expansion of shipyards and new cargo shipping companies. The City of Miami should send a strong signal to encourage this growth and remove all the references to the Miami River within the proposed ordinances allowing for hotel and lodging uses. The PZAB has recently recommended on 2 separate occasions denial of changes to the zoning code, waterfront industrial properties, based in part on the potential impact on Miami's comprehensive plan. We hope the Commission will also take similar and appropriate action to remove the Miami River waterfront industrial properties from the proposed amending ordinances today. Thank you and stay safe.
Honorable City Commission, good morning. Brett Spivo, Managing Director of the Miami River Commission, with offices located at 1407 Northwest 7th Street, Miami, Florida 33125. SP1 and SP2 are citywide ordinances which would hypothetically impact all parcels within the City of Miami which are zoned D1, D2, and D3 with land use of industrial, for which the parcels along the Miami River are a very small minority of the city's total acreage. The subject citywide draft ordinance would require any riverfront proposal for a hotel on a property zoned D3 would have to be considered on its individual merits by the City Commission. Therefore, the Miami River Commission does not have an advisory recommendation on today's agenda items. In the future, if a riverfront D3 property owner applies to become a hotel, the Miami River Commission would consider that specific site and proposal at that time in order to provide the City Commission with our advisory recommendation. Your time and support for the Miami River are appreciated.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to make a comment on the 9:59 agenda? If you are here from the public, you may approach any of the 2 lectors, state your first name, your last name, you may state your address, and the items that you're specifically for or against.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Roselvic Noguera on behalf of Antillian Marine, 3038 Northwest North River Drive, regarding items PC1 and PC2. Antillian Marine have been in the Miami River since 1963. Today is the largest maritime shipping company in the Miami River, offering a full line service, including trucking, warehousing, logistics, agency, and containers. We ship thousands of cargo every week. Antillian generates about 300 full-time direct jobs, and we use local providers that serve a lot of clients, generating thousands of indirect jobs every year. Many other water-dependent companies have upgraded their infrastructure and capabilities just in 2019 and 2020. New water-dependent businesses have been established in the river recently, adding thousands of jobs. This is a multi-million-dollar industry, which contribution to the economy of the city is extremely significant. This is an essential industry too. Even though the COVID-19 pandemic, we're still here serving our clients. And most importantly, we were able to save thousands of jobs. Despite this significance, the staff report presented to support these amendments does not even contemplate the maritime industry. The working river is such important that the Miami River should element expressly protect the industry from the encroachment on incompatible uses. Any changes in the industrial uses in the river must be carefully reviewed and must be reviewed separately due to the implications. The encroachment of incompatible uses could irreversibly affect the viability of the working river. We respectfully request the exclusion of the Miami River from these amendments. Otherwise, you could be promoting a gentrification process in the river that will lead to the displacement of the maritime industry. Thank you for your service. We count on you.
Thank you very much.
I have a question.
Or,
Miss,
ma'am?
ma'am,
Yes.
you spoke, I represent a big portion of the river, as you know. Explain to me how this would impact the viability of the river, as you said it.
Sir, the working river,
Not the working river, the river,
the river,
Yes.
the whole river,
right?
there are about 43, if I'm not wrong. Here is my attorney that I would like to introduce him to you. He will give you more on detailed explanations. There are about 43 properties in the lower river that are industrial, that would be reserved for their purposes.
The viability of the river or the viability of your industry?
The
That's the-
viability of the whole working river,
Perhaps he can address the issue, because.
yes.
Because
So-
I think there's a difference between the viability of the river as a public policy-making agency that we are, and the viability of your industry,
The viability of the industry.
of your industry.
The whole industry,
Right.
because
No,
it's water dependent.
Of your industry.
Yes, sir.
It's not our industry, it's your industry.
The
So-
whole,
so-
the
so-
whole
so-
working river, because the river is considered, Miami River is considered
I
a
know the
working
Miami
river.
River, I was born and raised here, I know the river very well. So are we talking about the viability and the future of our Miami River, or of your industry in our Miami River, on our
The
Miami River?
future
There's a
of the,
difference, right?
of the
So
whole
can you address?
working river.
Can you address that issue? What she meant by the viability of our river? Okay. Whenever you have a chance, let me know.
May I introduce?
Thank you, miss.
Andrew Dickman, thank you, sir.
You recognize, sir. You can take that one, if you like, whatever one.
I'm just gonna, about to choke. Good morning. I'll get to your point if you let me make my presentation real quickly with the glass on here. Good morning, Mr. Chair, and real quickly, congratulations on your elections and blessings on your future endeavors. Members of the commission, I am Andrew Dickman, representing the Miami River Marine Group. You heard from Mr. Bailey, who spoke earlier on the television, as well as Antillian Shipping. My law firm is located at 809 Walkerbilt Road in Naples, Florida. I've asked the clerk to hand out a list of documents that I've put into the record. There's a stack of them. I don't expect you to read them all, but I do want to reference this list of documents. We oppose SP1 and SP2 in its current form. We ask that you follow the PZAB recommendation and remove the river from this legislation. Staff has recommended upzoning all city industrial land in the city because industrial is a minor segment, according to them, of the city economy. However, staff does not recognize the thriving Port of Miami River as a working waterfront. The data and law that I've introduced to the clerk is already available to staff, and I'll get to these documents in a minute. The point to that is staff in their staff report has given you very high-level data, county data, citywide data on industrial lands that they claim are a very minor part of the city, which justifies adding lodging to it. That analysis does not include any information, data on the working river, the Port of Miami River. If this upzoning is not intended to disrupt the Port of Miami River, then remove it. Remove it. If it is intended to add lodging intentionally on the Port of Miami River properties in the lower river, then be transparent and reveal the proposer and plans behind them. Lodging will upzone illegally the Port of Miami River lands in the lower river. There are approximately 44 legally protected properties in your comprehensive plan and the third DCA cases I litigated with the city, which overwhelmingly support removing this Miami River from your legislation. I do want to add that at the last reading of SP1, Commissioner Reyes mentioned, and he was concerned about the working river, and he was given assurances from the city attorney that recitals would be put into the legislation protecting it. I want you to know that those recitals do not have the force of law. They're just recitals. The only time they will come into play, if I may, we're an interested party, so I would ask for maybe one more minute, please. Those recitals will not do the protection that you have asked for. In speaking to Mr. Bobo's comments earlier, he is not authorized to make any comments on this. The Miami River Commission has not heard this item, and they have not voted on this item. So getting to Commissioner De La Portilla, your questions, which are good questions, there's one way in and one way out of the river. It is legally in your comprehensive plan, the properties that are listed, and there are 44 of them in this part of the river that are legally designated as the Port of Miami River. You have put into your comprehensive plan goals, objectives, and policies that says you will encourage and promote the Port of Miami River. The court cases that I mentioned, there's 3 of them from the 3rd DCA, very specifically articulate what happens when you start fragmenting these properties. This is not your typical port where you have one piece of property. That introducing lodging will automatically become the highest use for this property and will immediately turn developers towards this property and convert it from industrial Port of Miami River property to something else. It'll raise the taxes. It'll cause anybody that owns that property to tell their tenants, sorry, I've got to raise your rent. But one thing I want to mention to you is that there are water-dependent and water-related uses. There's a tugboat operation there. There are fisheries there. And one thing I want to mention is, in the first number 1 item on this list is in TripAdvisor. I did this yesterday. And it mentions Garcia's restaurant, and all of the remarks on it say, it's a fantastic working river. If you want to go to a restaurant and see a working river, go to Garcia's. All of these other documents stand for the proposition that you have a jewel of a working river, not just shipping, large shipping. You have large yacht repair facilities. Just during this last storm, how many boats had to go upriver to be protected? You start introducing lodging into 1/3 of this river, you are going to be further disrupting the operations of this river. So with that, I ask that you do what your PZAB said, especially on SP1, just remove the river entirely. And then you don't even have to go to SP2, which is the zoning. I beg you, I don't want to have to relitigate this and deal with this again. You've already made a decision about this as a major policy decision in your comprehensive plan. Please protect it, and if you're going to pass the legislation, just remove the Miami River. And I'd happy to answer further questions. Did that answer your questions at all?
Sort of.
Sort of? Okay, let me know if I can get more specific.
Mr. Vice Chairman?
Thank you,
you're recognized.
Mr. Dickman.
Yes, sir.
And just to reiterate, who exactly do you represent, and are you registered to lobby for?
I represent, yes, I'm registered as a lobbyist. I represent Miami River Marine Group, Antillean Shipping, and of course, you know Miami River Marine Group is like a chamber of commerce for the working river.
Thank you. And in that lower half of the river, the 44 properties you mentioned, how many of them are active, current industrial river use properties right now?
It's the 1/4 of it, the lower river. As far as active, I have not driven those rivers, but I know that I have been a part of building that particular map. I was part of that in 2010, which designated those as Port of Miami River properties. Now, those properties can be changed there's a pathway to change those and take them out of the port at Miami River. And to this day, no one has done that.
So we don't know how many of them, because I want to see if our decision is actually affecting existing businesses that are there who are tenants.
Yeah.
Now, if they're existing businesses who are landowners and this gives them an option, I don't see it as a negative effect on their business. If they're a tenant, for example, and their landlord says, well, now there's a higher use that I can, obtain more money for, I'd recognize that. So I was looking for a little analysis from your side on who this affects most directly. And I'll tell you why. Because as at the lower part of the river, where several of our districts overlap, there has become more and more activity as those sites get activated for both residential and social uses. I believe there's a way for our river to to blend both the industrial and the residential uses. As the river walk goes as far as we can take it, we want to see that we're able to preserve both. We want to see the working river thrive, but we also want to see some activation, especially on some blighted properties that are closer to the downtown core. So that's why I was just looking for what's existing there right now that we would be damaging by this legislation.
And that would be not only a good question for me, but your planning staff, they haven't done that analysis either. They've just told you citywide, industrial is not important. Now, your comments are well taken, and in fact, those are the same comments I heard 15 years ago when the city, and you weren't part of that at that time, but the same comments I heard from the city 15 years ago when they said, okay, the working river can include everything. In fact, I also represented Durham Park, which is residential. And of course, we acknowledge that it is a mixed-use river, but why, through a settlement, put these properties into your comprehensive plan and then say, we in fact are going to upzone them and make that the highest and best use, and immediately say, okay, let's turn them over to lodging. That's what's going to happen. We know that for a fact. And if you want to continue this item, I'll perfectly go out and do the job that your city staff hasn't done and demonstrate the economic status of those properties on the lower river. What I can tell you is that there are properties that are legally protected by your comprehensive plan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You said what our staff hasn't done, but let's ask about what you haven't done. You say you haven't driven that part, and you don't know the 44 folios that you have, that you represent, and how many of them are working, to the commissioner's question. Have you done your job?
As a lawyer, I'm doing my job wonderfully.
Well,
yes.
no, I'm talking about your presentation today. As you said, if I remember correctly, you said that you haven't even driven by those areas. You haven't been by those areas.
Right.
So tell me why. Tell me about those 44
Okay,
properties.
is Garcia's still Garcia's and all of
Garcia's
those?
the one example. You said 44. So let's talk about the other 43, not
Oh, there's
Garcia's.
where
So
the past Captain Bo Payne, where his tugboats operate, that property is still there.
Right, so you're talking about one property. So who do you represent? Because that was never really answered, right? You represent Antillean and you represent the Miami Marine Group, you call
The
them?
Miami River Marine Group,
Yeah.
which
Who-
I will
who
tell
are they?
you.
Who are they?
Who are they?
Yeah.
There are members, Antillean, there's other members of the Miami River Marine Group that
Can you
are
tell me who the
all,
members are? I'm just curious, because I don't know who they are. So,
okay, well,
educate.
I'm honestly going to be honest with you. The court has decided
We're not talking
that
about the
the
court.
Miami River Marine Group has standing. So they looked
As an
at this.
intervener, yeah, no, I'm reading it, but that's not the, I read the case here, Doa case. That's not my question.
It was a third DCA case.
Yeah, third DCA, I'm sorry. Well, I'm reading as the Doa case. I'm not reading
Yeah.
those third DCA
Those are
cases.
the
I'm
lower
sorry, I don't
cases.
have that in front of me. But tell me who they are. I'm just curious.
Tell you who they are?
Yeah, tell me who they are. Who do you represent?
I represent the Miami River Marine Group.
I know, but
which
who are they?
is I don't have their current list of members of,
But if you represent them, I would think that you would know who you're representing, right? So if you come to me with a Miami, you come to this body and say, I represent the Miami River Marine Group, Inc. Who are they?
well, all I can say is I can sit down here and I can pull up their website and tell you exactly who they are, or I can call Mark Bailey, who spoke earlier. on behalf of the Miami River Marine Group. It's not one person, it's not one entity, it's not two entities. There's multiple entities.
I would always think, if I may, Mr. Chair, I would think that if you're coming here before us, that you will know who you represent.
Okay, I do know who I represent.
Okay, so you have a name of an entity.
The name is the
Miami River Marine Group, Inc. Who are they? Is it one company that has a particular interest?
No, it's not.
So is it two companies?
I
Is it
promise
three?
you, it's more than one company.
Okay, so can we get an answer to that, Mr. Chair, at some point today, or before we make a decision on this?
Yeah,
We may or
if
may
you want
not.
me to sit down and look it up, I'll call.
I would figure that you would have done it before the meeting, but that's okay,
Well, to be frank with you,
yeah.
if the courts have recognized.
We're not
my-
talking about the courts. You're not in front of a courtroom
Well,
right now. Right now, you're in front of the Miami City Commission.
Okay, but you're questioning, okay, so you're questioning.
I'm not
the-
questioning, I'm asking you a question. I'm not
Yeah.
questioning. I'm
Okay.
asking you a question.
Okay,
You say you represent the Miami River Marine Group, Inc. I'm asking who they are. And you're not able to answer that question. You're not in a courtroom, you're in front of the Miami City Commission. So it's a simple question, should have a simple answer. You should know who you represent, because you're before us today testifying to certain things. So I want to know who you represent. And is it only one industry? Is it one particular company
If
that
you want to
has?
continue that, I'll pull them up and I'll be able to read them all to you.
No, that's okay.
You don't want me to?
I think you should have known that answer before I even asked.
I've never had anybody question that.
No one's ever asked you who you represent?
They are a major
Really?
they're a major stakeholder on the Miami.
What's a major I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
No.
What's a major stakeholder?
What's a major stakeholder?
Yeah.
They are it's a working waterfront. It is small repair, Detroit Diesel, they're small repair, they're marinas. There's one at Hurricane Cove Marina, there's, who else? There's Merrill Stevens. Do you want to tell me any of the other ones that are on the river? Which one? Betty Kay's. Here, come on, stand up. Let's tell them exactly who's on the river. You have the list?
Yeah, you have already mentioned some of them. But, and here on the website, and the Miami River Marine Group is an alliance of shipping terminals, ocean cargo carriers, boatyards, marinas, construction companies, towboat operators, marine-related businesses, who join together to create a climate for stress and growth of the maritime industry. This is the definition of the marine.
Okay.
Okay?
It's a particular industry that has a particular stake in the outcome of this legislation, right?
Yeah, the whole working river.
A particular.
The whole working
No,
river.
it's,
sir.
no, it's not the whole working river. It's a particular industry that has a particular stake in this particular legislation.
Which is,
period.
which is a
You could call
multi-million
it the working
dollar.
river, I don't call it that, but let's say you call it that. That's what this is. So I understand all that, I get all that.
Okay.
But I think you need to be frank with this commission about who you represent and why you're here. Because we don't care about any particular industry, we care about all industries, we care about our city. So if we're gonna promote our river and develop our river and move our city forward, then we need to have a clear representation of who you represent, what particular interest you represent outside of the interest of the city of Miami.
Well, as I mentioned before, we generate thousands of jobs here in the city, sir.
Right, and a lodging,
even though-
and a lodging establishment could represent many more jobs. If you,
Well,
we'll go
even
back and
though-
forth with that argument, right? I
Something
mean, at
like
the end of
that, just an example, even though with the COVID-19, just an example, we're an essential business, we're an essential industry. Even though through the pandemic, we were able to continue serving our clients. We go out there to the Caribbean and ship our cargo to benefit a lot of people here. And we were able to save a lot of jobs too. What we want is that Miami River should element continue being with the purpose that it was created for. Otherwise, what is going to happen is a displacement. It's a gentrification process, as it happened in other places.
Do you own the site where your business is?
Excuse me, sir.
Do you own the site where your business is? Where your business is located? Do you own that site?
Antilia Marine?
Do you own the site?
No.
How
The
long-
site.
The site,
Well,
the parcel.
I'm not aware of that, but we own the site, the owner of the company. I am not the owner of the company.
No, so
I
the-
am an
An
employee of the
employee.
company.
No, my question to you though, the business, Is it, I understand the business. I want to know if the land that you operate your business on is owned by your company?
Sir,
Or do you pay, or do you lease the property?
this is an information that I don't manage.
Okay.
Because I am not the owner of the company.
No,
I'm an
I'm asking you
employee.
because when you say gentrification, you know, it brings up discussion about renters versus owners, willingness to sell versus the ability for you to stay with a cheaper rent, if it may be. I mean, I don't know what your profits are. I don't know anything about your company. So that's why I was just asking. But if you can't answer that, I don't think you can answer any other questions.
And another thing that I would like to point it out is the Miami Riverfront element, as Andrew Dickman mentioned before, state that the city should promote the working river. Should it do a study, an economic study, as you mentioned, Mr. De La Portilla?
Thank you very much.
Hasn't been done.
Commissioner Godoy,
When we're going to see
1 second, ma'am.
initiatives from the city?
Your mics.
I can name a few of the, you asked about it.
Hold on 1 second, sir.
This question is for the administration. How many parcels are we talking about that are affected in this legislation?
Good morning, Jeremy Karras-Gauger, Interim Director for the Planning Department. This is actually a citywide legislation, so this includes industrial land throughout the city.
Yeah, but in the river I'm talking about.
Talking about the river, it's, I believe it's 44 parcels.
Okay, do you have a list of the ownership of those parcels and what the industry that's there is now? Is it a restaurant? Is it vacant land? Is it part of, as they call it, the working river, where you have fishermen going there or boats being stored? Can you give me a list on all those parcels, ownership, and what is being done there right now?
Yeah. I don't have a comprehensive list. I can tell you generally that we have a mix of uses looking at the existing land use. There's about 4 vacant parcels, and then you have a mix of restaurants, office.
Let me tell you why this is important for me. Because I don't want to be seeing that whole part of the river in my district going into Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla's district, that all of a sudden we're going to be getting all these skyscrapers that are going to be 40, 50 stories high and are going to change the whole neighborhood, including voting patterns, including 90+%, so I won't say 99% of the people that are going to be moving to them are going to be from outside of Miami. So there I have a major problem. It helps them, but it's different than their concern. My concern is that I don't want to change whole neighborhoods. And each time you put one of these buildings, it's like if you're taking a whole section of an area. The area right around south, the Jose Marti Park. You can see the changes already. After 2 big buildings went up on the other side. But since it's combined, you immediately see the changes on what is happening into that neighborhood. So before I'm ready to move forward on this, I want an answer in what I've asked, and I also want to know on each of those parcels, at least in my district, what changes will be coming. What can be built in addition to what could be built there now.
So, Commissioner, I think you get to a point where some of the detail on this, we are at second reading for the change to the comprehensive land use plan. So that's the portion that sets the underlying sort of baseline you're allowed to have this use. We're at first reading for the zoning component.
I understand that.
And the zoning component does get into the details about how large and how dense new projects can be built.
But I don't want to get past one without not knowing what I've asked.
The comprehensive, so just so I can document, the comprehensive list of existing properties.
Unless we would want to cut out the river and make that into a separate ordinance to deal with.
Mr. Chair?
You recognize, sir.
Yes, sorry.
Before you make a statement, I was looking up the business, the Antillean Marine Shipping Corp., and it's not located in the city of Miami. So I just want to make that note. The business that you're talking about is not located in the city of Miami. It doesn't mean that you can't speak on what's happening on the river, but just so that we're all aware that it's not.
Yeah, but
It's not
understand.
affected by our.
Yeah, but their ships have to come in and out.
No, I understand that.
You
I get it.
understand that?
Yeah, I understand the concept.
So, I mean, to answer your question about.
No, I want to make
Oh,
sure
I'm
I
sorry.
call on the
Pardon.
commissioner, and then we'll come back to you.
Yes, I expressed my concern before, and I have a big concern now. And I do agree with Commissioner Carollo that we can, the integrity of certain areas of the city of Miami should be maintained. I know that the river, and as a matter of fact, that I enjoy going to Garcia and watching and I'm taking my grandchildren there and my kids when they were small also, and watching those ships come in and come out. And I know there upriver there is, there's a lot of business activity that goes on repairs and also on cargo and all of that. What I want to know is precisely what this is going to affect. It's going to affect the whole river, or it's going to affect certain section of the river, and the other section of the river is going to remain industrial until further notice. That's what I want, because if we are going, and I think that we can reach compromise here, and there's certain areas that they are close to downtown Miami that they are more in line with certain development which is not industrial, but upriver, I would hate to see those industries and those jobs lost. I really do. And the staff.
Sir.
Does this include the whole river?
No, sir. This is limited to the areas downstream from the 5th Street Bridge.
Downstream from the 5th Street Bridge.
Correct.
From the 5th Street up all the way to the to downtown Miami, right?
Correct. To the mouth of the river.
To the mouth of the river. And that's where the 43 businesses are located?
That's correct. That's the segment where there are those. And I'll tell you.
Not 43 businesses, 43 properties.
43 properties. And a good question is what I think that Commissioner De La Portilla was driving at. How many of those properties that, because now they are, at this time, they are actively providing industrial services?
Personally, I can tell you that I'd be happy to get that information for you. I know Commissioner, he's dissatisfied with my attorney work, not bringing that information to you. I apologize.
Not your attorney work, your lobbyist work. It's a difference.
I'm here.
You should have had that information available when we asked the questions, right?
So
also, I wanna know from the
I'm sure you're a fine lawyer.
from the administration, what is the how do you foresee that this is going to be changed? You are planning, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then they come to you because you have certain plans. The word planning means you plan, right?
Correct.
Okay. You apply certain plans for that area to be developed in certain way. And I am going to piggyback on Commissioner Carollo's concern, and I would like to have that information. What are you planning there? Because this does not come out of the blue sky. I've been in this city for too long. I'm too old, you see, to be, and that's the truth. That's the truth. To be taken for a fool. And this does not come out of the blue sky. Oh, let's change this. No. There is some interest from somebody, for a group of people, that they're planning on developing certain type of buildings in that area. And I think that we should know when we vote what would be the consequences of that vote and how it's going to affect the, I would say, the identity of the city of Miami and the identity of the river.
I think we have more public comment, and I think some of that will come out in the public comment because we kind of stopped in the middle of it. I'll allow you to state the
Well, I was just going to tell you.
entities, and then let's move on with public comment.
Well, to that point, we would be happy to work with the city if you wanted to take out the river today. We can work with staff. If there is a need for that, we'd be happy to work with them. We've talked to them before. But the director of the Miami River Marine Group did send me information if you'd like to have that. We've got Hurricane Cove Marina and Boatyard, 555 Terminal. We have Esbury Foundation Company. We have Merrill Stevens, Simply Marinas, Epic Marina, Shoreline Marine Fuel and Oil, Fifth Street Marina, which is Betty K Agencies and others. And I will tell you, you wanted a description of who they are. And again, this is from Mark Bailey, Director. It's a nonprofit organization, Alliance of Shipping Terminals, Ocean Cargo Carriers, Boatyards, Marinas, Construction Companies, Tugboat Operators, Marine-related businesses, suppliers, professional individuals, and other businesses. And to the question that you had, what happens, I mean, these ships and other people have to navigate not only the river, which is very narrow, but they also have to navigate bridges. And when you start adding more recreational lodging, whether they're going to have marinas or not, it becomes very dangerous in there. So the Fifth Avenue area, I don't think, the lower river has not been studied. If there is an initiative that you need your industrial land citywide to have lodging, fine, that may be justified. The easy solution and the safest solution is just remove the river now, today. We'll work with staff, we'll work with other people, we'll have a Congress and get together and say, what can we do with the lower river if there is a need with it? I think that's the best approach for all the stakeholders, and I would ask that you do that. I mean, I think that's the safest approach.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Iris, can I take this? If I speak from a distance, can I take this?
Is at your own risk.
No, go ahead.
I'm one of those people, I believe it's at your own risk.
I understand.
Put it on.
It's just I
It's
feel
up to
like
you.
muzzled with this thing.
It's a free country.
So good morning, everyone. Iris Iscara with offices at 333 Southeast 2nd Avenue. I wanted to make a few points clear on the record with regards to this legislation. The settlement agreement that was referred to previously with regards to the Miami River Commission had an Exhibit B to it. The Exhibit B to that legislation was a draft of the Port of Miami River element that the city adopted, went to the state, and so forth, and the Miami River Marine Group, who was a party, participated in the language of the Port of Miami River element. The Port of Miami River element states some things that's very important that I don't think has been clarified on the record, and that is that the working waterfront is defined in accordance with Florida Statute 342.07. Repeatedly throughout the Port of Miami River element, the agreement, and so forth, whenever we refer to the working waterfront, which is a term of art that we all say, it says, in accordance with, as defined in Florida Statute 342.07, which I will be introducing into the record and making sure. So, I'm going to read one section for you, sorry for the legalese.
Can I
As
excuse me, Iris, who do you represent?
MV Real Estate Holdings, I have a couple clients that citywide that are interested in the hotels and industrial. However, after PZAB, I do represent one of the owners along the river and asked me to come in here and make sure that the record was clear as to the law, as to the ordinance that's being
Again,
adopted.
where does this stop at?
His site is in Commissioner Hardeman's district on the north bank of the river,
But where, the part of the river? Is it
the
back-
lower river. I'm near downtown, right next to MRC.
Yeah, but does it go past Second Avenue Bridge, then the First Flagger? Does it
We're-
include those?
We're just south of the First Avenue Bridge that FDOT is doing.
That's not my question. I'm saying that the changes that we're talking about, it goes up to where? Does it go up to Flagger, the Flagger Bridge?
No, the changes that the city is proposing is up to the Fifth Street Bridge to the mouth of the river would be the only D3 sites that are eligible.
To the mouth of the river?
Right, to the mouth of the river to the Fifth Street.
Okay, so it's not going into my district, District 3?
I believe from the Fifth Street Bridge to the mouth, the southern part of the river is in your district. The northern part is in Commissioner Hardeman's and the southern
Up
part.
to where?
I have,
Yeah, I
sorry,
see you, I get nervous.
I don't have my boards.
All that I see are 80-story skyscrapers.
That's right.
And people coming from New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts. And then they vote 80% against guys like us.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I say, who should represent it?
Just going to quickly read my
But
definition.
we're the ones that are not fair and balanced.
Understood. As used in this section, the term recreational and commercial working waterfront. So the term of art is really recreational and commercial working
My
waterfront.
question is boundaries. Up to where in my district does it go?
It
You
is,
you can approach him if you like.
Yeah, but put the mask on.
oh, sorry, you're right. Sorry.
I want to make sure you're okay. I know I am, but I don't know about you.
As of last week, I'm okay. So here, Commissioner, if you're looking at this drawing, which is actually an attachment to the Miami Comprehensive Plan, this is the mouth of the river here. This is like Brickell
Right.
Key right here. It goes through the river up to this bridge.
What
So-
bridge is that one?
The Fifth Street Bridge.
Fifth.
So all of this part of the river is not proposed to be included as eligible to be able to have a hotel or lodging in connection with a commercial working waterfront use, meaning you can't
So-
just have a hotel and not have an active marina. You need
So
to
it does
have an
take
active
a big chunk of my district.
Can you
Correct.
make
This
sure, make sure you
portion.
make that statement again, please? Make that statement again, please?
Let me see if I can attach
That
something.
it is anticipated in the legislation
Yeah.
that you can't just have a hotel and lodging. You have to have an active working waterfront use. It could be a marina, it could be a variety of issues, but the hotel alone can't just say, we're not going to activate the water. They have to activate the water. It's part of the legislation. So to answer your question, Commissioner Carollo, it's this part here that is in your district. And there are many uses there that are vacant warehouses. It's right across the street. There are some there that are anticipated to be restaurants. That part of the area, the river, doesn't really have a lot of some of the uses that were previously mentioned on the record.
Question. When you said, when you're going to activate the water, and the marinas and all that, I have a little concern, I was expressed by the gentleman. That part there is very narrow. And couldn't that affect, if you have a marina there, could affect the shipping, I mean, the lane, that those, or the entrance of, the ability of those ships that come from Antillia and all of those that are upriver, they load cargo and they come that way. I mean, they come out, in and out that way.
And I've done a couple permits along that portion of the river, and you really can't get as many ships in because Durham regulates you, because it's also a manatee protection zone. So you really only have the length of your property to tie up sideways. You really don't have
That doesn't
like,
mean that you're going to have docks all the way.
oh, no, you, can't.
I mean, that would
You,
be
technically, Durham doesn't allow it. You really only have tie-up and for the length. So you could put 3 little boats, 1 big boat, or yacht, whatever, but
Okay,
it's
that's-
really that length.
It's just going to be docking on the side.
Correct. But the city requires that you activate that. You can't just, turn your back to it. You got to have something there. Might be a fish shop that somebody can come and buy fresh sugar.
Activating is a misnomer because you will comply with the city requirement by only having a couple of votes tied there, right?
Correct, correct. You will have to have both. And that's why one of the things I wanted to highlight is that in the state statute, it encourages the hotel and motels. It's defined as part of the working waterfront. So when we all say the working waterfront, as defined in the Florida statute, it includes hotels and motels. Specifically in the statute, in 2010, when this settlement was entered into, this was one of the uses that was allowed.
What does it say about condominiums?
It doesn't say condominiums. You can't have residential uses. That's not in here. So I wanted to make sure the record was clear as to that fact, because that's a very important fact. Because that, we all use it as a term of art, but the definition was clearly defined, part of the settlement included hotels and motels.
Through the chair, you said it doesn't say condominiums. Then
No.
that would preclude the building of
Correct.
condominiums there for sale.
Correct. It would preclude residential condominiums. You'd have to have a different zoning category.
That will be then only hotels.
Correct.
And restaurants and all that.
Yep. And I'm going to give this to the clerk in case anybody would like a copy, and I'm introducing it as part of the record.
No condominiums, right? No condos.
No condos.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Are you going to come back to change that?
No.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Not for, no.
You're recognized.
I think you're one of the sponsors of this legislation, correct? It doesn't include my district, because the majority of the river is actually in District 1. It's not in District 3 or District 4, it's in District 1. Why did you not include the entire river?
Well, when I thought about it, I thought about all the activity that was going on where it was happening. Because you have to understand from the.
You're a visionary, so I figure, right?
I mean,
you would look at what's going to happen now.
Get him some glasses so he can see better.
Well, he'll be in the county commission now, so, he'll get blinded over there. Hopefully that's not going to happen.
One of the first things that I never want to step on my colleagues' toes, right? I don't want to step on your toes about something that doesn't need, why cause you frustration about something that you don't need frustration about?
Right.
And so we looked at the limited part of the river that's being affected. This is the area where you're seeing lots of change happening. This is where the MRC is. This is where you have some temporary uses such as the wharf. You look at where Garcia's is. I mean, all of this space is really changing. I mean, we've done a significant amount of investment from the from city and through the state on that riverfront. And so now people are there. People are walking. We're trying to find ways to keep people on this side of the bridge. And by that I mean from going to Miami Beach, right? This is a competition. We got to always recognize.
Of course.
And so Miami has done a very good job of creating these neighborhoods that are impressive. People want to come for distinct viewing experiences. And I believe that the river is one of those experiences that people are going to really enjoy. And the way that I see it is that with the assistance of those in the private industry, what you'll find, if we're flexible in our government, is that we'll have a space that people could come to.
But why not include the whole river?
Because I did not want to go further than what I believe was the appetite by this commission. There's always room to expand. I mean, and if people want to have further discussion about that, you can have that. But, particularly I was looking within the purview of what I felt was fair from a district commissioner's perspective.
Okay. So if I would, absent Commissioner Carollo's, objection, but the rest of the district, the rest of the city, the river area, right, the area that I represent, I would like to have that opportunity to explore other opportunities there, as long as it's not residential.
Then why don't we?
As long as it's
take
not
the river-
residential.
We could either do it two ways. Either we take the river out and then we bring an ordinance just for the river so we could extend that into your district, or as far as the river go, or we defer the whole ordinance altogether. So either way, I'm fine.
Yeah, I personally, with all due respect, Senator, you see, I know it's your district and all that, but I'm afraid that, as I said before, people are planning and coming and developing that area. And I don't want to lose the activity, a commercial activity that is taking place on the river.
And as what was explained, though, we have to remember
from Fifth Street up. You see, we have, boat repair businesses that have been there forever, you see? And I mean, right on 12th Avenue and around 12th Avenue Bridge, you're going to see a huge, and then 22nd Avenue, you're going to see a lot of them. And I would really hate to see that. Not because we are going to allow them to do it right away, but they're going to be here immediately. Said I want a 60-story building there.
And I'll defer to the current commissioner's district. I mean, whatever he thinks is the best thing for his district. I
Yes.
think he represents them. And I'll take the argument about the rest of the river off the table right now, because obviously there's some opposition to that. I think that we need to move forward, and Miami needs to look forward to what we can do. I agree that 60-story condos are not what we want there, but I do think that hotels and things that will revitalize that river and make Miami something, you know, make the Miami River something that we can be proud of. We're the only city, I think, in the country that has a river that doesn't really work at the end of the day, even though you call it a working waterfront. It works for who? For whom, right? At the end of the day.
Yep.
So to me, to see this part of the district that I represent have some revitalization occur there, some money put into that community, it's important to revitalize our economy. So we'll have the debate later on, but I will defer to the commissioner from District 5 into what he thinks is important for his particular area. So I'm going to support you, Mr. Chair, on this issue. I think it's important to you. And we come back and maybe have a debate later on about the rest of, you know, what happens in District 3 and what happens in District 1.
If I may add something, what I would propose, I think that we need development. But I think that we should take it one at a time.
Yes.
One at a time. And every development that's going to come over there, we should take it and analyze the pros and cons and how it's going to be, and then vote on it. And I do agree with you that development is needed along the river. But what I don't want to open up a Pandora box. I mean, carte blanche. You see, everybody that wants to do it, they have to come to us, and we'll be open to it. And it's your district, and you can bring it up, and we analyze it.
And Commissioner, I will tell you, if that's how you feel, then this is the way we go about doing it. Because what I envision is, when I think about, for instance, Brickell City Center, right? Brickell City Center, a lot of it, if you're approaching Brickell City Center, you can approach it from the river, from the water. And all of that area there, I mean, imagine people being able to have their families walk along the riverfront, have food, a restaurant. They still have to have marine usage on that site. So it's not as if you're closing it off. It's not the Miami Herald building on the water. You remember that was, probably the worst use of waterfront property that you could ever have. It's not that. It's actually the complete opposite. And so we just believe that the district and the city of Miami, because that's what it becomes a brand of the city of Miami. For instance, if you think about Wynwood, if you think about the design district, these are things that are within the district. However, it has a global, really, footprint. Everyone comes for these spaces. The same way as Calle Ocho and things of that nature. It belongs to the district, but it's so much more than a district asset. And so when I think about what's coming to that type of space, if we create this sort of legislation, you're providing an opportunity for more jobs, as what was described on the record. You're providing an opportunity for more ways to bring in tax revenue, to honor the river, to keep it clean, things of that nature. Mr. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Planning staff has brought up a map on this back monitor which shows the difference between the properties in your district versus Commissioner Carollo's district. By the color coordination, you can see there already is a change, the blue being the non-industrial and the pink being the industrial, if I'm not mistaken, but maybe planning staff can elaborate a little bit.
Sure. So broadly speaking, category B is into the working waterfront definition of uses that are less industrial.
That's the blue.
That's the blue.
On the north side predominantly and further toward the mouth.
Correct. So that's category B. Whereas category A, which is the pink, is the industrial designated working waterfront. But the working waterfront, it does already include additional zoning transects, T4, T5, T6, that contemplate a variety of uses. So it's not solely industrial uses.
Are you able to zoom in at all? I apologize, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman. just to focus on that from the 5th Street to I-95 kind of section.
So there's Fifth Street to roughly I-95. And that's actually the full extent of the properties in categories A and B.
Mr. Chair, if I could, I mean, while you're looking at that, you can tell how narrow.
Hold on 1 second, please, sir. All right, before you go, we have more public comment. I'm going to move on with the public comment. If there aren't any further questions, you're recognized, sir, please.
Hi, John Cardello. I've lived in Miami since 2005. I'm a resident of the Grove, but I also own a business at 111 Southwest 3rd Ave, which is near this edge of the river. Have every of you gone over there during the day to see the activities that are happening in that area because there isn't investment into the area? There's quite a bit of homeless. There's a lot of bit of crime. I have videos out of my office building of sexual acts happening on the street, and we need to invest in this area. This is not a question of whether we should. Other cities have embraced their rivers. They have looked at bringing industrial and commercial uses combined together. Industrial tourism, have we ever heard of that? That is something that's continuing to evolve. Let us go to the river. Let us participate in one of the greatest assets of the city. Right now, I have no objection to the industrial uses that are further upriver. They are not appropriate where our city downtown has grown. We should be looking forward and we should be approving this move to say, how can we create an engagement of the community? Have eyes on the river, have people that walk to the river for lunch, that participate at night. You think about Seattle where they have a public fish market on the river. But those type of things need other resources to make them survive. If you think you're going to have an industrial use sit it there and it's going to survive long-term, especially a light industrial use, because not only is boating an issue here, electronics is light industrial use. This part of the river most likely over time will have additional tech companies come into it, which will benefit the city's picture overall. We should be looking at approving this. This will add a new dimension to our downtown, which is currently missing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. No, sir. We got to finish public comment.
I will real quickly. I mean,
No. I want you to understand. Can you have a seat, please? Have a seat. And then we'll continue public comment, and then I'll come back to you. No problem. I understand. It's a lot of barriers between us.
Hi, how are you? I'm Alex Mantecon. Thank you for your time and for hearing this item. I'm an interested party on this item, just to be 100% transparent. We own and or control 6 out of the 40 parcels that they referred to. There's another gentleman in here that also owns properties that is also in favor, that would be affected by this. Antillean Marine is the only person that's spoken against this, to my knowledge. They do not get affected, and maybe they don't know this, but they're not inside the city limit boundaries. They are in unincorporated Dade, like the way Mr. Chairman Hardiman stated. So this is not something that would affect them. So this is something outside of that purview. From my perspective, we won an RFP at one point to take over and develop something that would be beautiful on this river, and our intention is exactly that. This type of legislation, I think, would open the avenue to do something I think would be amazing, that would activate our waterfront and be able to bring in a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunities, and finally realize the vision that this city has always been sought after, right? Everyone I speak to always says, Miami's the only city where the river is just, it's nothing amazing. Every other city that we go to, I just came from San Antonio, they have one of the most amazing waterfronts, one of the most amazing rivers that has truly made that city into what it is. Henry Flagler, he opened up, his first hotel was right on the banks of the Miami River back in the late 1800s. I mean, I don't believe that anybody would disagree. I don't think any of you guys would disagree that right next to your city administration building, which is currently going, there was another RFP by Adler to develop it into residential units. You guys would agree that that should be nothing else other than an active waterfront with restaurants, entertainment, other stuff that would bring in entertainment, nightlife, and hospitality to your waterfront. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other person from the public that would like to make a comment? Seeing no further persons, the public comment period is closed. Any further discussion?
Well, I would like to get a much clearer picture from staff before I would be ready to bless this fully. One vote can change things forever. So I don't mind waiting another few weeks before we bring this part up on the river, but I want to truly comprehend what it is that we're going to change, in particular in my district, piece by piece. I'm not against it, but I need further clarification before I feel that I could give it a final blessing.
So let's have that clarification as well. I'm going to call you Mr. Vice Chairman, but also I want to make the statement that isn't it also true that every application that will come to take advantage of the hotel usage, for instance, would require a warrant?
No, sir, it would actually require an exception with a required presentation to City Commission.
Okay. So every step for every business that would like to take advantage of this new allowance would have to come right before this body that sits before.
Any lodging use in D3 would come before commission, yes. So
The problem that I have is that any time that I see that something is being rushed so quickly, and all that I'm asking is the time to sit with staff, look at it carefully, and then bring it back. That shouldn't bother anyone, nor is Miami going to stop by doing that.
Mr. Vice Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a suggestion and possibly a question for planning staff to understand. If we're able to bifurcate at Fifth and allow this to only affect the lower river, could we also bifurcate by North Bank versus South Bank and say these could or should be treated differently? Commissioner Corrio's district is on the south bank of the river, Commissioner Hardeman's district on the north bank. Clearly, Commissioner Hardeman has analyzed his side of the river and would like to see this sort of use come in. And I'd like to support him in that before he leaves. But I understand Commissioner Corrio's concerns on how this might impact the neighborhood inland of the riverbank if this use is allowed there. So I'm wondering if there is a compromise that can be struck.
I think what he's bringing up is something that's fair. You could easily bifurcate my side of the river from the other side, and then after we sit down and you go with me, the explanations that I'd like to see, then we could bring it back.
I think it's feasible in terms of altering it, yes.
And you could even bring it back with Commissioner Diaz-Leperti as District 1.
If there's a motion in accordance with what's been stated on the record, then that's the chairman will be fine with that.
Do you accept that?
I'll be fine with it, sorry.
That'll be fine. I
For
think,
your side of the, for your district, right, Commissioner?
Yeah, for the
North
District
Bank.
North
side,
Bank.
District 5 side of the river only.
Yes.
I
I'll move that.
Chair,
and I second.
It's been properly moved.
this is for SP1 or SP2?
For both.
If I could also clarify, Mr. Cayeres-Galgo, is the bifurcation for the zoning ordinance or for the land use change?
I think that's what the clerk was just clarifying.
But you believe it's appropriate for both?
Is that the intent, is to have that for both?
The intent is to vote upon on it in such a way now, after I meet with you and you go over my district and I could see it physically, parcel by parcel. After you go through Commissioner Diaz-Portillo's district and see what he wants to do there, or what he thinks is appropriate to do in his district, then we'll bring that portion back, and then it'll be combined.
Happy to do so.
Madam City Attorney?
The only problem would be is that we would have to go through the state process all over again, probably for the comprehensive planning change if you do it this way. And I don't know how long that would take.
What do you mean?
Expedited state review typically takes 3 to 4 months.
Do you mean for the new, to
new.
make future changes, or for this change?
For the future changes.
Probably if you bifurcate this now,
Right.
you would probably have to go through the state review again for the comprehensive planning.
For the new changes, for the things that we're not considering.
Correct.
Okay.
We would need to go back for expedited state review, which would take time. Although, remember that the comprehensive plan is the underlying ordinance, and you can always have more restrictions in the zoning.
Mr. Chairman?
I have a question.
Vice Chairman? and then-
I wonder why that would be, though. If that review has already been done for this entire section, and we decide to only take a step on one part of the section first, and then bring the other part later, why would we have to go back for review again if it's already been approved?
I think anytime you're adding or removing parcels of land from that, it's considered a substantial change
Yeah.
and needs to go back to the state.
Even if it's 3 or 4 months, like the city attorney stated, this is not anything that's going to break any camel's back. You don't have people that are running now, trying to build hotels or anything other. So,
Well, if there is a concern, I'm sorry.
You recognize?
If there is a concern about the time, it must be because somebody is ready to start building there.
No.
I don't think it is, you see. But I think that it will be a more complete legislature if we include Commissioner
No.
Diaz-Portilla concern and areas, even you can
No,
carve out certain areas.
it makes good sense, because all of the
That's right, it
activity
makes
right
sense.
now is on the north side of the river.
That's right. And
anyway.
at the same time, we allowed our chairman to leave with that project that he thought about it, and that change that will activate that area.
Although I do think we've given him enough victories already. He doesn't need any more victories.
Our victory, these are our victories.
Yeah, I agree with
Oh,
you.
you are.
Let's not get carried away here either.
There's no I in R.
That's the end of it, okay?
That's it.
Yeah, I agree
Okay.
with it.
remember what happens to hogs?
I know,
Okay, so
I know.
Chairman, if I can make
Go ahead,
a
while the going is good.
proposition. SB1 is actually the comp plan, which is here on second reading, which has already gone through the state review. Even if you adopt that pass it today, until SP2 gets adopted, you can't get a building permit. So it'll accomplish the same thing, that it'll provide the time for SP2 to be bifurcated, but SB1 to be passed. It accomplishes the same thing, and I think it accommodates Commissioner Carroro's request to further study the actual businesses.
SB1, as I understand it, is going to be done in the fashion that we discussed here.
SB1 would be in effect, but we can't pull a building permit or do anything until the zoning code is consistent with the comp plan. So even though the comp plan will be adopted, the zoning code, I can't go pull a building permit or anything until SB2 gets approved. And that'll avoid any going back with the state or any of that potential aspect, since we've already passed that hurdle over the last few months.
I appreciate your opinion very much, madam, but you represent your clients. I represent the residents of my district and the rest of the city. I stand by what we had discussed here, where we're going to be changing and bifurcating to the North District, not to the South District. It's obvious that the North District is where the growth is going. That's the area that has been looked at for this plan. I haven't heard anyone mention anything in the south side, so I don't think it's going to hurt anyone. So if we vote on SP1 with the changes that we discussed here. We could then go on to the next phase.
So it's been properly moved and seconded with the amendments? Yes.
So just so I'm clear, so the motion made by Commissioner Carrero, seconded by Commissioner Diaz-de-la Portilla, is to amend only SP1, and then we're going to address SP2 next, or is this for both?
It's going to be for both.
For both.
For both.
Understood.
And then we need to read into the record? SP1 and SP2? Can we have them read into the record?
The titles were actually read into the record when you did the protocols at the beginning.
Okay.
We can rely upon
Oh,
that.
yeah, that is true. I did read it to the record. That was a very long thing that I did. Seeing no further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against? Motion carries. The November 16, 2020, 9:59 a.m. Special City Commission meeting is adjourned. Mr. Clerk, whenever you get yourself together, we're going to move into the next.
Just a minute, sir.
What time do we have now?
We have the Special City Commission
Yes,
meeting.
but what time is it now?
Oh, what time is it now? It's
11:40.
11:41.
Do we want to break
It's
before
up
we
to the
go
body.
forward or not? I would assume that we break and then come back for set amount of time. I mean, I'll be blunt with you guys. I've come here with half a cylinder today, not my usual one. That's better than most of the 8 cylinders. I have a slight ailment, so not to jump for joy in a few of my enemies.
What time would you like to come back? 2 o'clock?
If we could come back at, say, 2, and then I'll be able to go for a couple of more hours.
Okay.
But I don't think we need to be here all day for that.
Okay.
I'll go from 2, from the time that we start, I'll go a couple of more hours, and if we're not ready by then I'll start making motions.
Mr. Clerk?
Did you want to address public comment? I do not have any pre-recorded public comment for the 10 a.m. special meeting, but I do not know if there's anyone outside under the tents or in the chambers that are here for just public
I
comment.
don't mind hearing public comments now, if we have any. This way, those people don't have to wait any longer.
Understood. Perfect. Are you ready to open the meeting?
Good to go?
Today's special meeting has been called for the purpose of discussing and taking any and all actions related to Virginia Key Marina, including but not limited to the award of any request for proposals. The members of the City Commission for this meeting are Commissioner Alex Diaz-de la Portilla, Joe Carollo, Manolo Reyes, Ken Russell, the Vice Chair, and me, Keon Hardeman, the Chair. Also appearing remotely are City Manager Art Noriega, or he's on the dais. Remotely is City Attorney Victoria Mendez, and our City Clerk, Todd Hannon, is also present. Madam City Attorney, please state the procedures to be followed during this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code must register with the city clerk and comply with related city requirements for lobbyists before appearing before the City Commission. A person may not lobby a city official, board member, or staff member until registering. A copy of the code section about lobbyists is available in the city clerk's office or online at municode.com. Any person making a presentation, form, or request or petition to the City Commission concerning real property must make the disclosures required by the City Code in writing. A copy of the City Code section is available at the office of the City Clerk and online at municode.com. Pursuant to Section 2-33, subsequent F and subsequent G of the City Code, the agenda and the material for each item on the agenda is available during business hours at the City Clerk's office and online 24 hours a day at miamigov.com. Any person may be heard by the City Commission through the chair and upon registering pursuant to the published notice for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the City Commission unless modified by the chair. Members of the public wishing to address the body may do so by visiting miamigov.com/virtual meeting to upload their 2-minute video comments to be played during the commission meeting or to submit their written comments via the online comment form. The comments submitted through the comment form have been distributed to elected officials and city administration throughout the day so that the elected official can consider the comments prior to taking any action. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept comments and distribute to the elected officials up until the time the chairperson closes the public comment period. Members of the public may also call 305-250-5351 to provide comments via the dedicated City of Miami public comment voicemail, where individuals will be able to leave a 2-minute message that will be played during the commission meeting. Members of the public may also pre-register to provide live public comment by phone during the meeting. You may pre-register by phone by calling 305-250-5345 or online at miamigov.com/government/live-public-comment. All comments submitted will be included as part of the public record for this special meeting and will be considered by the City Commission prior to any action taken. Public comment may also be provided live at City Hall, subject to any and all COVID-19 regulations and procedures. Speakers who appear in person will be subject to screening for symptoms of COVID-19. Any person exhibiting any symptoms of COVID-19 will not be permitted to enter City Hall. All interested parties are required to abide by all state, county, and local emergency orders and are urged to remain at home and practice social distancing. If the proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the City Commission takes action on such proposition. When addressing the City Commission, the member of the public must first state his or her name, his or her address, and what item will be spoken about. Any person with a disability requiring assistance, auxiliary aids, and services for this meeting may notify the city clerk. Section 286.014, subsection 4, subsection C of Florida statutes specifically authorizes the city to prescribe procedures or forms for an individual to use in order to inform the board or commission of a desire to be heard, to indicate his or her support, opposition, or neutrality on a proposition. The city, through its multiple comment options, has provided different methods to indicate, among other things, the public support, opposition, or neutrality on the items and topics to be discussed at the City Commission meeting. The public has been given the opportunity to provide public comment during the special meeting and within reasonable proximity and time before the meeting. The city has also created a simple set of instructions explaining how the public may submit their comments with either option. Those instructions were provided in the notice to the public via the city's social media channels and published online at miamigov.com/virtual meeting. Please note, commissioners have generally been briefed by city staff and the city attorney on the items on the agenda today. Anyone wishing to appeal any decision made by the City Commission for any matter considered at this meeting may need a verbatim record of the item. A video of this meeting may be requested at the Office of Communications or viewed online at miamigov.com. Please silence all cell phones and other noise-making devices. The special meeting can be viewed live on Miami TV at miamigov.com/TV, through the city's Facebook page, on the city's Periscope channel, on the city's YouTube channel, and on Comcast Channel 77. The broadcast will also have closed captioning. Commissioners, please confirm you are comfortable with the notice provisions as set forth in these uniform rules and procedures we have established for this special meeting.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
You're recognized, sir.
Before we get into the substance or the public comment on the issue of the agenda, I just wanted to bring up a procedural comment, and I'm very happy to see all of you here today. I like the interaction that we're able to have personally, and especially on your last day with us, Chairman. It's good to see you in person. I am very concerned, though, with regard to COVID. We're not out of the woods yet. The numbers are up these last 2 weeks, both in the county and the state. Hospitalizations are up. I've witnessed over the last few hours more than 10 people touch that microphone and that lectern and the door handles as they come in and out of this room. I really want to make sure that we have the flexibility we need to be as safe as possible for our residents, and perhaps a resolution urging the governor to allow for virtual meetings to continue if we choose.
I second that.
And also for municipalities to have flexibility on mitigation strategies with regard to COVID. Our hands are a little bit tied right now, and we are a dense urban area that is not the same as the rest of Florida. And I worry for our residents. So that would be my motion.
I will second that.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, unfortunately, because this is a special commission meeting, you can only take action on the items for which the meeting was called.
Emergency resolution based on the fact that we're here physically.
Can't do it.
Unfortunately, that's not allowed pursuant to the city code. Obviously, we can put this on the regular commission agenda as an emergency.
Bring it up as a pocket item on Thursday's meeting.
Sounds good.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
So at this time, I'm going to open the floor for public comment. If you're a member of the public and you would like to make a comment on the 10 o'clock a.m. special city commission meeting, now is your opportunity. I know there's no one that is outside. If there's anyone from the public that would like to speak on public comment inside the chambers, you can step to any of the two lecterns. Is there anyone that's pre-recorded for public comment for the 10 o'clock a.m.? I'm seeing a no. With that being said, since there's no further public comment, I'm going to close the public comment period at this time. And we will recess and be back at 2 o'clock p.m. to complete this agenda. Thank you very much.
Come back at 2.